connected with you. So here are some tips that we think will be very, very useful in that. So tips for ensuring your unit is digitally accessible. So it's very important that you have an active unit email address and that you frequently check it. I know for us, something that you could, this is an example, NAACP Youth and College Division at gmail.com. Just an example. Of course, that is something that you'll create for your own individual unit, and ensure that you're checking that frequently, that you're providing that to your unit members and that people that you're in contact with, that you're putting that on your communications, flyers, and all of those good things. Also, it's very important that you stay active on social media, especially at a time where we're not physically present with our units and our members and all of that good stuff. So if you don't have a social media account, such as a Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we definitely suggest that you create one of those. And if you do have those things, ensure that you're active on that. You're frequently posting content, updates about things that are going on in the organization, within your unit, and other upcoming virtual programs that you may have or different initiatives that your unit may be working on. Some other things that you can do is you can push out a digital newsletter. On that newsletter, it can consist of news, maybe things about COVID-19, maybe things related to NAACP game changers that are happening around the country remotely, just different updates that are going on and current events that are happening that are related to our game changers and the different things that your unit may have going on. Also, having a unit website is another great opportunity to provide good information about your unit. On that website, you can have things about your executive committee, who folks are, placing photos with names, descriptions, biographies, making that connection with your unit in the outside world, different things about the campaigns that you all are working on, and the issues that you're taking up, different programs and initiatives that you're doing, and also a resource hub for people who may visit your website. And here are a few examples. So in this video here, this is a TikTok of our very own, our national programs manager, Wisdom Cole. He did a TikTok for the census, so definitely check this out. It's pretty entertaining, I think so. So yeah, TikTok is something that a lot of people are starting to utilize. It's a quick and rapid way to put out information. It's very entertaining. It's free and easy to use. And I'm sure that many of you have saw different TikTok videos around the census and election. I know that the field has done incredible things with TikTok in terms of mobilizing people to complete their census, to get out to the polls, to do absentee ballots and all of those things. And it's definitely something that's up and rising. So we definitely encourage you to utilize TikTok if you can. You can also utilize Twitter. Here's a sample tweet that I created for some voter registration things, just basically wondering how you're going to register to vote while social distancing. We've since refrained from using social distancing and changed that to physical distancing. But it says, no worries, we've got you covered. In partnership with vote.org, we've made it easy for you to confirm your voter registration status and have a simple click. And we provided the link there. That link takes you directly to the vote.org website, and it allows you to verify your voter registration and register to vote if you have not already. And then here on the side, we have a post from Connecticut NAACP, and they've been doing a lot of great things on social media as well. A lot of people have been using this viral photo of the people having a text conversation, and the woman is saying, "Can I count on you?" And the guy saying, "You can count on the U.S. Census to provide funding to our local communities." And these are just different things that people are doing around the country to keep people entertained, but also engaged with different things that we're tackling, such as the census, voter registration, and all of that good stuff. Here's an example of a newsletter. Here we have our a newsletter example from the Environmental Climate Justice Department. Here's something that they sent out in June of 2018. provided a lot of great information about things that they had going on within their department. Here at the top is featured one of our youth leaders, Tavian Moore, who did a lot of things around energy advocacy. And then on the other side, we have a picture of our Youth in College website. We definitely encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. That's naacpyc.org. And on there, you can find different resources and things that we have for youth in college. Just some general unit operation tips. These are some things that are more general and broad, but definitely critical for you to know, definitely as we're operating virtually and away from our units. So you should schedule at least 2 virtual executive committee meetings. Definitely recommending that if you haven't had one already for the month, that you try to do one within this next week or so, just to have a beginning of the month / mid-month check-in, and also having that other one towards the end of the month as well. So I guess a great rule of thumb in this case would probably be a 15th and a 30th. And just ensuring that you're checking in with your executive committee, that you all are on the same accord, that you're doing wellness checks with them, seeing where everyone is, tying up loose ends of different things that that was going on before we all went remote, and just talking about different things that you all could be doing amidst this and moving forward. And I think it's also important that you all visit roles and responsibilities of the executive committee and talk about what that looks like while physically distant, because that may change a little bit. So definitely having an open and honest conversation about that, so that everybody can be on one accord moving forward. Also, schedule some consistent virtual check-ins between the unit advisor and the executive committee. Again, giving giving that kind of like 15th and 30th as it relates to the month of April. I think immediately following that that executive committee meeting, that the executive committee schedule something with the advisor so that they can provide the advisor with a report of the different things that were discussed at the executive committee meeting, and so that the advisor can also be on one accord about things that are going on in ways that they could be of support to the unit and the executive committee's operations. And definitely sharing the different standing committee reports with the advisor, obviously, and just expressing any need for support, resources needed, challenges, and all of that good stuff. Also, ensure that the unit advisor and the secretary has completed the membership portal training. I hope that everyone has received some type of correspondence about the membership portal training. If you have not, we'll definitely include that in the information that we send out following this training. But please ensure that the unit advisor and secretary has completed the membership portal training. That's to access our membership portal and get live access to rosters and different things about the unit. Our next one is actually happening on April 20th at 8:30. So definitely hop on that if you are a unit secretary or advisor, and definitely encourage other unit secretaries and advisors to do that if you haven't already. And Derek will talk a little bit more about some of the other things that come along with that membership portal training later in his portion. And then lastly, have at least one digital general body meeting per month. Again, that's just at least one. We definitely encourage you to do more if you would like to. And in those general body meetings, please ensure that you're providing updates, providing an opportunity for a wellness check with your unit, and also providing reports from your different standing committees, from the executive committee, and just gauging where people are, things that people would like to know and see and do. I know a lot of people have questioned, well, how can we continue to do the work that we're doing when we're not in front of each other? But there's tons of opportunities to continue to stay active and engaged around the different game changers of NAACP. Virtually. It's just a matter of us being strategic and creative about doing that. And by meeting with your unit at least once per month, you're able to come up with a shared vision and collaborative efforts on how to do that. So again, we talked about having those 2 virtual executive committee meetings, maybe on around the 15th and around the 30th, the beginning and end of the month. Try to schedule your general body meeting in accordance to that so that you can plan accordingly. Here are some tips for having a great online general body meeting. Some do's: continue to use parliamentary procedure just to keep things in order and organized. Ensure that you have a clear agenda so that people know what will be discussed. Can come prepared for any questions or concerns that they may have as it relates to the agenda items. Have a clear start and end time, and be sure to honor that. While we may be at home and we have a little bit more time, we want to ensure that we're respecting people's time because we don't know the other things that they have going on outside of NAACP. Continue providing your committee reports. Create multiple channels for engagement. I know for us here, we use Zoom, and we use some people have used Google Hangouts and things called House Party and GoToMeeting. We create an opportunity for people to chat in the chat here, to email us after. So just creating those different channels for engagement is very important, just to ensure that you're able to engage with folks and answer any questions or concerns they may have. And lastly, follow through with the follow through. If you say that you're going to do something in the meeting, ensure that you're going to do it. So I know that, we've mentioned that we're going to send out this presentation. We're going to follow through with that and ensure that everyone who registered for this presentation gets a copy of it and some other additional resources. If you didn't register for the training, please ensure that you drop your email in the chat so that we can get that over to you. And some don'ts. Don't have a long check-in or opening. I know, we talked a little bit about wellness checks and stuff like that. Obviously, you want to see how people are doing and check in on people and provide support, but don't carry it out. Don't drag it out. It could be a little bit discouraging for some folks, and some folks may check out of the meeting. So you definitely want to just allot an appropriate time to doing that. Don't have a meeting that's longer than an hour. Again, while we may be at home and we may assume that people may have a lot of time on their hands, I know, much like myself, I have a very short attention span, and it being online just makes that much worse. And I'm sure a lot of other people are like that as well. So ensure that the meeting is concise, simple, and to the point. And ignore the folks that you can't see don't ignore the folks that you can't see in video. We have different digital capabilities, different computers and access to a different technology. So just because you can't see somebody on video does not mean that any questions or concerns that they may have can be ignored. Definitely ensure that you don't ignore them. And that's why creating those multiple lines of engagement is very important, so that you don't ignore them. So ensuring that you're checking the chat, and that somebody may be responsive to the email from the training, and that you're listening to folks who may chime in towards the end of the call during questions and concerns. And then here's just some general tips overall. Something that Derek and I want to continue to push is that ensuring that your flyers and any publicity that you have has unit contact information on it. We see so many great things that units are doing across the country, and we want to shout them out and contact them about that, but they sometimes don't have contact information. So if you are doing a virtual program or initiative, and you put some type of publicity out there, please ensure that it has the unit email or the point of contact for that event on the flyer, just in case someone has to contact you about it. Another thing that we see consistently is that a lot of people refer to their executive committee as an executive board or an e-board. That's not the case. We only have one board, and that's our National Board of Directors. We have executive committees, so please ensure that you're referring to your executive committee as an executive committee and not an e-board or an executive board or any other variations of that. Also, executive committees should encourage their members to join standing committees. There are tons of different committees that are available within for units, and definitely encourage your members to get involved in those and utilize their talents in different areas to really help develop programs and different issue areas that the unit can take on. Unit presidents should definitely check in with state leadership and regional representatives. It's very important that your state leaders and your regional reps know what you're doing, that y'all have been in contact with each other, and that you have those open lines of support and communication, because oftentimes we see that those lines are not as open, or that those relationships aren't as strong. So we definitely want to encourage you all to continue to build those relationships and contact your state leadership and your regional reps. If you don't know who those are, please contact us so that we can put you in contact with them, and that y'all can begin to build that relationship. Also, youth and college units should be active with their local adult branch. That's very important. Building that local adult branch and youth and college relationship is important as well. And we talk a lot about this intergenerational organizing component, so we definitely want to continue to build that. And just a small note, a lot of people, most people should know that, well, all people should know that the Youth and College president sits on the executive committee for the local branch. So it's very important that our presidents know that and that they utilize that opportunity.
All right, thank you, Russ. I don't think we have any questions. Okay, well, I'll stop real quick to see we'll take any questions in the chat real quick. If there are any immediate questions for Russell's presentation. I haven't seen any. And if not, we will keep on moving. So thank you, Russ. Russ did a really great job at explaining to us of how we can still be active and be active during this time, and in spite of COVID-19, picking up new tactics that isn't a part of our norm, and we're knowing that the new tactics that we do pick up as we go from grassroots to digital organizing will soon become our new norm. So I'm asking all units to go forth, to stretch yourselves, to challenge yourselves, and to go to and still be active and get the business of the NAACP done, as it is still necessary. We have to continue to fight for equality, equity, and justice. During this time, it's also a good time while things tend to slow down as our business slows down for the unit. It's a good time for us to get organized and do a little spring cleaning when it comes to our units. And as it says, getting the house organized. So first is first, you need to know who is your national field organizer for the Youth and College Division. So myself, Derek Lewis, I'm responsible for Region 1, Region 4, Region 6, and Region 5. I'm responsible for Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida. And in Region 7, I'm responsible for the DC and Virginia area. So as far as contact, if you ever need to loop us in or need any additional support as it comes to the field from the national office, besides region directors, you'll need to loop in myself for those regions that I just listed. For Russell is responsible for Regions 2, Region 3, and Region 5. He's responsible for Tennessee, North Carolina, Mississippi, and Georgia. And in Region 7, he's responsible for Maryland. So these are your representatives for your region and or state, depending on if you're in Region 5 or Region 7. And if you ever need anything else from a national standpoint, you know who to contact. And I know that there's a question asked earlier, will there be a copy after this? There will be a copy that will be sent out to all participants who registered. So next, as we are cleaning up the house, I know that we've been doing host and different types of membership portal trainings. I know that we've been doing this since convention of last year. It is very important that all unit secretaries and advisors complete this membership portal training so that they can be trained and get their login credentials. But after you get trained, or even before you get trained, we must be able to identify you as the secretary and or the advisor. And the only way that we'll be able to do that is if you fill out this link, which is our officer update form, which is right here to our left. This officer update form with the link right here, the bit link, NAACP_officer update. This also was sent out in our mass email, and also from either myself or Russell coming to your state conference or to your regional leadership to disperse to all units. So it's very important. If you have not received your login credentials and you have completed the membership portal training, please make sure that you have completed the unit officer update form so that we'll be able to identify who is the unit secretary and advisor so that we can give you your login credentials and you'll be able to do the business of the unit virtually. Again, as Russ stated earlier, our next training will be Monday, April 20th from 8 to 9:30. Again, the training will be Monday, April 20th from 8 to 9:30. Please register and make sure that you have your unit secretary and or advisor on that call. As I said, this is very important as we are transitioning to using the NAACP membership portal. All right, so now we're going to talk about unit operations as it relates to finances. So what we're going to focus on is tips to put your units to put your unit finances ahead of the curve post COVID-19. And even now, as we are going through this, we understand that COVID-19 has has slowed down some things for units, but also, like I said, it also presents different opportunities for units to take advantage of, to be prepared after COVID-19 is over with, when we are back on the ground. So the first one is to identify who your unit treasurer is. I'm pretty sure that you already have it. Just a FYI, and I'm pretty sure this will be a reminder as well, all youth and college elections have been postponed until the fall of 2020, pending a date to be determined. So your unit treasurer should be your current treasurer as of now, but I want to make sure that you have one I want to make sure that you have someone in that role, right? The next one is make sure that if on March 1st, you should have completed and submitted your annual financial report. If you have not, please do so. You will not be able to send it by mail this year. Everything will be done virtually or digitally. If you can send it to the email below, which is annual financial report at naacpnet.org. Again, the email is annual financial report at naacpnet.org. The next step is I want units to identify or to obtain their employee identification number or their EIN. Your EIN, as it correlates to the unit, it kind of serves as like the unit social security number. And your unit social security number is what basically what will be used this will be used to establish your bank account, right? As for the unit that you are representing. If you do not have your EIN number, what I need you to do is send an email to nscott@naacpnet.org, and I want you to CC one of the national field organizers. And you can refer to the chart so you can see which field organizer represents your region or is responsible for your region. And in that, in the subject, I want you to put your unit name and number and put EIN request. In the body of the email, of course, I want you to introduce yourself and who you are and the unit that you represent. When you are requesting your EIN, some key things that I want you to highlight is make sure that you put your city, your unit name and number, the city, state that the unit is that the unit resides in or is within that jurisdiction, and the zip code as well. And this will be this make the process go a little bit more smoother. I know that Nazar always asks for this information when units are requesting, so that he can move forward with that process. If you can have that information on hand or within that email request, that'll be really helpful as we can move forward and complete your request. Again, if you do not have your EIN number, please send an email to nscott@naacpnet.org, and you want to CC one of the national field organizers. Again, that is either myself or Russell, and you can always reference the previous slide before this one to figure out who is your national field organizer. After you get your EIN, like I said, this is what's needed for you to establish your bank account. And once you get there, of course, things that are needed is, of course, it is your EIN number. Some banks request the document as well. So make sure that you have one of the two, or I will prefer that you have the document. Have the minutes of the election meeting. Also bring your personal ID. So there should be a state ID, not a school ID, but a state ID with your address, your date of birth, so that the bank can identify who you are. And of course, the NAACP Constitution and bylaws. I know that bank tellers in the past have requested this from a organization standpoint. And like I said, that these are the items that'll be needed for you all to establish a bank account. If there's anything else, I know that certain banks are different. If banks are requesting any other information besides this, I'll be interested to know so that we can be aware to also inform other units across the country if there are any other precautionary measures that they should take when it comes to establish a bank account. All right, and the last one is drafting a budget for the year. Right, you have this time. I hope that you can maximize this time and making sure that you can be prepared for next year, being prepared for the worst as well. But also, we know that within the NAACP universe, that we have our quarterly meetings, we have our state convention, we have our national convention, we have our regional cortege, and we all know that we also want to go to these different places so that we can get the full experience, get trained, and go from being a good unit to a great unit, right? And with that is also, we know that funding is a huge barrier. We know that location may be pending and sometimes information may be delayed or gone, but what we want you to do is to ensure that you can that you can document at least what the event is, how much travel may cost, depending on where you may be traveling, right? How much travel may be cost and lodging, right? Just so you can ensure and kind of estimate how much you can be spending for a year, or how much your unit needs to raise for the year so that you can be ready for X, Y, and Z, right? We know that national convention happens every year in July, and state convention happens in between September and December, depending on what state conference that you're in, but making sure that we are being prepared and taking proactive measures to ensure that we have the funding to go to these events to make sure that our units can explore those different opportunities. Okay, so I still have a question from Tanika. She said, if there's a change in officers, you must put in minutes who is coming off account and who is going on account. Some banks require some banks require this. Bank of America and Wells Fargo. Yes, thank you. Yes. So some banks do request who will be coming off and who will be transitioning again to those offices into those positions. So thank you for raising that, Tanika. So now we're going to talk about unit compliance. Compliance is good standing as a unit being in good standing within the National Association, right? As the national office sees fit. So it's three, easy as 1, 2, 3. Compliance consists of making sure that each youth and college unit has 25 members at a minimum annually. So this is each year. Making sure that units have submitted the annual financial report by March 1st and that they've paid the dues or the fees associated with that, which is $75 by March 1st as well. Again, this is it's 3 steps, or really 2, when it comes to maintaining compliance. But we want to make sure that all youth and college units are in good standing, not just so you can meet state 6x6 compliance, but also so you can opt into what does it mean to fully operate as a unit who is in compliance status. When you go to these national conventions, you get to have delegate strength to participate as a full participant instead of a observer. So next we're going to go into our membership compliance. So now when we talk about membership, like we just discussed, is just 25 members at a minimum, right? So how you can submit membership, you can submit it via mail, online, or via the NAACP membership portal. Yes, you can still send a mail. We now have extended services to where our membership department is still being able to process mail and also still process membership cards. So If you are, please, if you are sending anything by mail, please be patient with our membership department as they are working with a new system due to COVID-19, as they are not directly at the office. So please be patient if you are sending membership by mail. You'll still want to send it to the attention of the membership department at the address 4805 Mount Hope Drive, Baltimore, Maryland, 21215. Of course, with the payment methods, you need to submit a check, money order, or a credit card authorization form. Now, when we go to online, so I look at the mail as socially distancing, right? And I look at the online as physical distancing. When I'm talking about actually being apart, I know with the mail you may have to go to the mail office. I mean to your local post office or even step outside. But physically distancing is staying, like I said, in the comfort of our house, in the comfort of our homes, being safe, which means that you are online. And being online, like I said, you have access to submit your new membership or renew your membership online. Some things that you need to know when you are going to do this is, for one, is know your unit number, right? If you are a youth unit and you do not know your unit number, the first number represents your region, right? So depending on, for example, say that I'm from Texas. Texas lies in region 6. So my first number would be 6. For a youth unit, to identify a youth unit, if the second number is 7 or higher, that is a youth and college unit. If it is below the number 7, it is an adult branch or prison branch, right? So your number should be either your region number with the second number being 7 or higher. So in 69, for example, 6984 or 69ZB, right? As an example. You'll also need to know your membership ID number. I know that most people don't know their membership ID, but if you have your membership card, it is located on your membership ID. And if not, you can contact either the membership department or myself or Russell, or if your unit secretary has access to the membership portal, you can request the information from unit secretary to retrieve your membership ID. You also need to know your zip code so you can identify or narrow down the search to where you want your membership to lie. And right here where it says new membership, I have posted the link to where you can become a member. And if you want to renew your membership, I post the link where it's NAACP.org/renew/upgrade membership youth. So I'm going to stop real quick. I see I have a few questions. Okay, so from Jazz, okay, I'll get to you, Jazz. Mr. Hall, do youth and college units have to be in good standing with state as well? Please discuss the misunderstanding between youth and college paying 10 versus 15. There's been much debate about which amount youth college should be paying. So yes, I will go into that on the next few slides. But yes, the youth units do have to be in compliance within the state conference. Youth and college pays $25 once a year. This is $15 for a year. The 10 is for the semester. I don't know who that was for. I think they was referring to the membership breakdown, which I will go into next. Again, if you need to figure out, or if your unit secretary does not have access to the membership portal, to where you cannot contact your secretary to retrieve your membership ID number, please instruct them or instruct your units, please, to go register if they have not, to get trained. And then your unit should also complete the unit officer update form so they will be able to identify who is the unit secretary and who is the unit advisor to give login credentials. All right, so I think, Mr. Hall, this is what you was talking about right here. So here's our membership dues, right? So our membership dues for youth and college, it actually consists of 3 different memberships, right? So our first one is the youth with crisis that you see. The youth with crisis is $15, right? And the youth with crisis, of course, this includes that I get the subscription to the Crisis magazine. The unit keeps $480, and the national, in between the unit breakdown and the national breakdown, it's a 70-30 split. So 30% of it goes to the unit, which is $480 out of the $15, and then national gets the 1020 the national portion gets the 1020 of the $15. The youth without crisis, of course, is a youth membership without the crisis subscription, which is $10. With the unit portion, will be at $3, and the national portion at $7. And this is another thing that I get: adults or youth and college members who are 21 plus. People say, "Oh, I'm in youth and college, and I pay 15 and 10." According to our Constitution and bylaws, if someone is over the age of 21 plus, they have to pay that adult membership, which is at $30. The unit portion is at $9, and the national portion is at $21. All right, let's see if I have any questions.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, it's Jonathan. Just go over again. I don't know if you see where there's a little bit of misunderstanding where they're saying that there is it's $25 for a membership, and there's a $10 fee per semester. So just make sure you clear up, because there has been some practices or some best practices, or not necessarily some best practices, where people are getting fees instead of memberships. So you might want to cover that.
Yeah. So when it comes to units should be only taking membership once a year, right? Once a year. This isn't a breakdown in between the 25 and the 10, or a breakdown of the 30. Once somebody submits their membership, it is in whole. So if I'm submitting a youth membership with crisis, that is a $15 membership. I'm submitting that membership on August 3rd of 2020, and that my membership will remain active until August 3rd of 2021. So there is no breakdown of the dues or fees. If units are charging more than this for membership, please contact one of the national field organizers for support, and we'll assist you the best way that we can during that process. So again, membership for the Youth with Crisis is $15. This is a yearly, so this membership is annually. This is for the year. This is for the year, not for the semester. Youth with Crisis is $15. The Youth Without Crisis is $10 for the year. If you have anyone that is 21 plus, they'll be paying $30 for their membership. And I appreciate you for raising that up, Jonathan. Thank you. All right, next, quarterly reports. So units should be submitting quarterly reports. Quarterly reports, of course, are completed 4 times out of the year. This is how the national office is tracking what you are doing on a quarterly basis. All right, this is what we ask information about. What quarter you submitted for? What is the unit information? So what's your unit name, your number, your email address? Does the unit have a social media? Do you have an advisor? Do you have a current president? Do you have these committee chairs filled? If so, what are the activities that your press and publicity committee carried out? What did your political action committee do this year? This quarter. So it's us just checking in to see how units are doing each quarter and what units are doing in each specific quarter. But most importantly, when it becomes helpful towards the unit, if each youth and college unit was to complete each quarterly report, of course, 4 times out of the year, this is also if you think about it, this is your award packet for the national convention as well. So to do work ahead of time in the same way, think about it like that. So if I'm completing each quarterly report, I can always refer back to my quarterly reports to help me guide and use that as a gauge when I am completing my my convention award packet. All right. So one of the things that I want you to think about is this, right? So has your unit attended any of these events that have been sponsored by the NAACP? So that's coming from the state conference. Has your unit attended the state conference? Has your unit attended a regional quartile or a virtual training? If you are the 89 that's on the list, you are currently in a virtual training. And has your unit ever been or attended a national convention? The reason being is because when we talk about strengthening our units, these are opportunities to take our units to the next level and get the training, get the expertise, get the education, get the experience that we need for our units to grow, to be challenged in the space, but to also learn more, so to take what we learn and take that back to our local communities to get local victories, but to advance our local communities to put them in a better position than what we found them in or what we started in, right? So please, anytime that there's an opportunity for training or an opportunity for a unit to attend something or do anything, to where you are getting more information, please take advantage of this, because this is what makes a huge difference, and this is what helps with growth. This is what helps with different mentorship. This is how you expand your network. This is how you get connected with different leaders, so that you can connect within the field to exchange ideas and build off of that. So please take advantage of these different opportunities. So real quick, I'm going to give you some tips for maintaining compliance during COVID-19, but also to keep your unit active, right? So please, after this training, we're going to give you all a healthy unit checklist. This healthy unit checklist kind of goes within those 4 buckets that we identified earlier as units should be as units should be going through to identify the health status of their unit, from compliance to non-compliant, or taking on these best practices and measures. So please review that. Like I said, we'll share that with you after the training. Please ensure in between now and April 26th that your unit has 25 paid members that are current, right? We want to make sure that all units maintain their compliance status, and if they're not, that they submit 25 new members to get back into compliance status. The next one is, like I said, complete your quarterly report. We want to know what you're doing. Like Russell said earlier, we see a lot of units doing a lot of great work on social media, but we need you all to complete quarterly reports, or at least put your contact information on your flyer so that we can get in contact with you to also show you out, to touch base with you, to see what else you're working on, as it applies to the units. The next one is keep your members engaged, right? This is a perfect time for you youth, you millennials, you young people to be creative, right? To be creative and meet people where they are. When we talk about the work that we do as the NAACP, we always say that we are a grassroots organization, but now during this time of COVID-19, we have faced a roadblock, or we faced this barrier. And in this time of adversity, during this time where we're still trying to figure it out, right? How do we become creative and now amplify our message using a new platform? So that may be the youth going to the adults, teaching them how to use social media to amplify the message, which also goes hand in hand with intergenerational organizing, right? We have to be engaged. We have to be creative. For my youth and college units, what are you doing to keep your units engaged? Russell gave out a few examples earlier. Are you doing TikTok videos, right? I know we was doing a census TikTok challenge. People are just creating videos just because, right? Are you doing a wellness check? I know that Prairie View A&M is doing a quarantine week series where they are partnering with different organizations on campus to still keep their members engaged, but also give things people to do who aren't usually on their following list on campus, but they are following them on social media, which is much wider. So think about how we can meet people where they are. I know that a school in Pennsylvania is doing a Netflix watch party, where they're going to be showing a watch party, and then on the side, they're going to be having a little chat, discussing about the video. Having discussions about the movie. So being creative, meeting people where they are to where we can catch their interest. But once we get their interest, we move them to action. right? And that action can be that action can be, hey, can you check a voter registration status? If you're registered, good. If you're not, can you register to vote? Matter of fact, if you register, can you pledge to vote? Right? And then the last but not least, we have to understand that as our units transition from being a grassroots unit to now becoming to now working and now doing this virtually, we have to be all in, right? We have to use we have to use a small sum of us together to create and to move the total body, right? It's the small sums that create and that lead to that huge shift. And it's not, and the unit isn't going to thrive off of one person. The unit is going to thrive off of everyone who's putting their hand in and pushing the unit and the organization forward. That's your executive committee. That's your members. That's your advisor. That's your that's your community, right? That's everyone putting their hands all in to move forward towards one goal and to fight in relationship with one another, to move forward for one common goal. So I have two questions. We said money order checks to add new members along with the form. Yes, you can still send money order checks via mail. Quarterly report, yes, the quarterly report is due for the first quarter. So if you can submit that, you're still able to just mark the first quarter when you are going to the quarterly report form, so we can identify which quarter the work was done in. All right, so some of our upcoming events that we have upcoming to keep you all still engaged is that we have our van training coming up on April 9th. So listen, we have our van training and our treasury financial report training happening at the same time on April 9th. This will be a good time for you to make a decision for your unit, to do something for your political action chair and your treasurer to split it up. Or if you just want to be, or if you're just interested in the van training, this is our voter access network, to where you're able to utilize this tool for civic engagement. This is going to be a huge tool that we use this year, and the more that we have, the merrier. Again, so the monthly training is taking place on April 9th at 8:30 p.m. You see that we have on April 11th, which is unit administration, the role of a secretary. Be careful, this one takes place at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please, for the role of a secretary, April 11th, mark your calendar in your alarm for 1:30 p.m. The next one will be on April 14th, which will be branch elections. Let's get it right. So this will be branch elections taking place April 14th at 8:30. There will be a youth and college student debt panel, which will be pending with the date to be announced. And then we have our digital organizing training, which will be taking place April 16th, 2020, with the date pending to come. So please, please be on the lookout for these events. And these are different opportunities for you to learn, but also take your units to the next level, as I said, as we go from good to great.
Cool. So thanks, Derek, for going over those upcoming things that we have going on. I'm hoping that everyone can definitely get involved in those. So those are some great opportunities for us to not only enhance our knowledge, but definitely pass that knowledge along to our members and the folks on our executive committees and things of that nature. So some things that we are prioritizing for within youth and college is definitely voter registration and voter mobilization, also the 2020 census. So definitely, please, if you have not already, please do these things. Please push for voter verification and registration. In the information that we'll send out following the presentation will include our link with vote.org, in which you can verify that voter registration status and register to vote if you haven't already. And if you also have not completed your 2020 census questionnaire, please do so as well. We'll include that website, or you can visit the NAACP.org/2020 census website, which not only provides you with the link to complete the questionnaire, but other opportunities and information about the 2020 census, such as complete count committees, job opportunities, and different things that are related to our communities and our organization as it relates to the 2020 census. So those are two things, and then we'll talk about some more on the coming slides. Also, we have a student debt. Petition that we have out at the moment. Our national programs manager, national campaigns manager, sorry, Wisdom Cole put together a lovely petition, and here it is here. We also included the link. Please, if you haven't already, please sign that petition about student debt. We also have a student debt panel coming up, and we'll provide more information about that soon, and we definitely hope that you all can join us for that, and we hope that you can push this student debt petition to your unit and your members and community members as well. And then lastly, please stay home, folks. Please
Stay home.
if you don't do anything else, please stay home. Stay home. Going outside does nothing for you, and it does nothing for your community as well. There's not much we can do because stuff is closed down, and I'm hoping that everything is closed down in your state as it should be. But we have to stay home. Continue to wash your hands, continue to clean frequently touched surfaces, and just do your part. I know that it can be boring at home. A lot of us are catching cabin fever and going crazy. But, as we talked about earlier in the presentation, try to find those different things that you can do to keep yourself busy and stimulated at home. And you don't even have to order stuff. You can find all different types of things. You can read, you can go for a walk around your neighborhood and come back. Try not to engage with, large groups of people. If you are going to step out for a walk or something like that, do some exercise, catch up on some shows, plan some programs, do something. But by God, please stay at home. Because that's one of the biggest things that you can do for the community right now. And let's just also be thankful for our essential workers and our healthcare workers on the front lines, and know that one of our National Youth Work Committee members, Brandy, is a nurse in Texas, and she talked a little bit about her experience of being a nurse and being on the front lines. And we definitely want to appreciate her and shout her out, and all of the nurses and doctors and healthcare professionals who are helping us through this time. There are so many Black doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals who are putting themselves and their families at risk every day by continuing to support our community. So we definitely want to express our gratitude to them, and also do anything that we can to engage our institutions and our government to support them and ensure that they have the resources and support that they need in order to effectively support us. And question time. So I know that a few folks have asked questions in the chat, but if you have any more questions, now is the time to ask. We are more than happy to answer those for you and provide you with other resources or information that you may need.
All right, I see great information. Thank you.
And we definitely hope that you all continue to, like I said, post TikTok videos, Instagram posts, tweets, Facebook things, all types of things to show us what you're doing, but also keep folks engaged around the country. I see Wolfgang here in the chat. He was a part of a cool video that that was very successful on social media. And we are really appreciative of him and the things that he's done to really push for, voter registration and census across his state. And we're very proud of all of our young leaders who have done so much in terms of adjusting to this quote unquote new normal. And while we may be in this new normal, so to say, we still have tons of things that we could be doing to get this work done. So shout out to everyone who is continuing that work, and those who are trying to find out ways that they can be a part of that work remotely. I've been seeing that there's a disproportionate effect on our community as such as Milwaukee. How can we bring more attention to this? Yeah, I did see that there was obviously the Supreme Court of Wisconsin had talked about they did not want to postpone the elections that happened today, and we saw a lot of disparities. Of course, in terms of long lines at the polls, people being turned away, and people just leaving themselves because of the long lines. We definitely have to continue to bring awareness to that, and definitely push on other governing bodies and institutions to be of as much support as they can to their states and their communities and their constituencies to not only push for absentee ballots and absentee voting, but expanding remote voting in general. And we can talk a little bit more offline about that if you like to. So please email us and we can definitely connect you with Wisdom, who can give you a little bit more of a campaign framework around that. And we can kind of help, organize and mobilize folks to take action around that. But I definitely appreciate you for bringing it up, because that's a really big concern. And I'm sure that a lot more states have not only experienced it, but are going to experience it as, elections continue to happen. There have been some that have been postponed, but not all. And I see it says there's a petition going around to get a bill passed where people can mail in votes. So yeah, these are the types of things that we want to know. So this is why it's very important that we engage and interact with each other, and talk about these things and these types of trainings and provide those resources, spread them on our social media pages, and also share them with us as well so that we can share them with the field. And bring those opportunities to people in different states. Thank you, Phyllis. You stay well as well. We really appreciate you for tuning in, and we hope that you're staying healthy and sane amidst all of this.
That's good. Okay, I see. Okay, Grace Cooper. She said, a member wants to renew their card but misplaced her card. Doesn't have her card number. How do I get her another card? Hey, Grace. You can email. You can either email myself or Russell, depending on what region that you're in, and we can help you identify her membership ID. Unless your unit secretary has access to the membership portal, you can contact your unit secretary. But are there any more questions? Any more questions about the EIN, about the tips that Russell suggested earlier? All right. Well, if there is nothing else, okay, now I'm seeing questions coming in. I'm sorry.
What do you do about issues between adult branch and youth councils? So we come across this a lot in terms of adult branches and youth councils having issues, and that's why we talked about earlier. It's very important that we continue to build those relationships, and we try to listen to one another and find a common ground. I know that when it comes down to intergenerational organizing, there are a lot of different tools and tactics based on generational perspective, but it's also important that we listen. And we try to learn from each other, and we try not to let age or generation or experience get in the way of us doing effective work. I know that both Derek and I have sat in on, calls within calls for units and stuff like that to kind of help mediate some of that conversation. So if that's something that you need, please do let us know, and we're happy to assist and support with that. Definitely in terms of how do you get them to support, definitely just remind them that, much like themselves, that you are a member of NAACP and that you provide hard work and perspective to this organization to continue to help it move, and that you want to learn from them and grow with their mentorship, but you also want to provide some of the experience and expertise that you have as well of being a young leader, and asking them to, not only teach, but to listen and and vice versa in that relationship. And again, if you need some help, kind of help with mediating that conversation, please do let us know, dependent upon your region, and we could definitely provide support in that regard.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry, dear. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that Jonathan also uplifted that having that the advisors serve as a facilitator in between that relationship, right? But also remembering that that the youth president and the advisors sit on the adult executive committee. So that's something to always keep in mind. Also knowing and also I would say to always put into perspective that we can't operate in silos. And that means from generation as well. It doesn't make sense for an adult branch, a college chapter, and a youth council to reside within the same jurisdiction, but they advocate on separate. They advocate for the same issues separately. It's together where we find our strength, where we have our power, and where we have our width at. So also bringing that into perspective as well.
Both Derek and I will provide our contact information, such as our work phone number and email, so that you all have that. So we'll provide that following this along with the presentation, so that you all can contact us both from on the phone and email as well. Are adult officers of the adult branch allowed to have contact with any of the youth officers of the youth branch? Derek, I think you just answered that, right?
Yeah. So we would encourage it for sure. That does help with intergenerational organizing, leadership development. Is there, I guess, like is there like specifics around that? And for everyone, I did just drop myself and Russell's email. Of course, I'm DLewis at NAACPnet.org, and Russell's is rboyd at NAACPnet.org.
Someone asked, how are the jurisdictions compiled? In the graphic, and one of the graphics previously, we kind of mapped out who has what regions and states. You'll receive that again following the training, and you'll be able to see what field organizer your region or state is in. We can also, I guess, provide the map as well, Derek, so that people know where their state falls, like what region their state falls within, so that they can know who to contact.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions that we can answer for you all? We're so appreciative of the conversation. It's really good to kind of talk through these things and be of support like immediately as questions come in.
And we appreciate you all for taking the time out to be on this training tonight, on this Tuesday night. So thank you and kudos to you.
Thank you.
There's one more question. If there's a non-compliant branch near, can we still start a branch? I would always recommend first seeing what you could do to reactivate the non-compliant branch. That's what's important. Definitely not don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. So definitely try to get involved with that branch and see what you can do to support the reactivation of it. And if there isn't any opportunities, please contact either myself or Derek, and we can either talk about what that may look like, or and or also see what next steps are in terms of organizing a new branch, or seeing if we could help you reactivate the branch that's in question.
Yep. Email addresses again.
I'm typing them right now.
All right, they're coming. Okay, hey, Kayla says, how do you keep momentum going at time when members cannot physically connect? Right. So that's the grand question that everyone is asking, and with that, it's like I said, it's using digital platforms. So how are we still making this interaction very much real for our members, to where, one, they want to be engaged, but two, we are also giving them something to do. We're tasked them with a challenge or a task for them to complete for X, Y, and Z outcome. So like I said, we have to meet people where they are, right? We understand that during this time, people are at home, people are within within their home, they're not really doing too much. So what is something that's entertaining to them, that's entertaining to them or for them, that will get them inclined to participate in whatever that may be? Like I said, that can be a movie night that you host on Zoom, that you host on Netflix Watch or Facebook, Instagram, however you may do that. That can be your unit hosting Instagram Lives. I know that me and Russ, we did a coffee and tea last Friday, giving national updates. That can be the same thing for your unit as relates to updates from the campus, right? Inform your units on what's new on campus, what resources are you providing for them, right? Even TikTok, doing a challenge like that, creating up with different ideas around certain days of the week. Well, Wednesday can be Wellness Wednesdays, where we can do something. We can have a yoga instructor or someone go live on our IG and engage our members. But what we want to do is, before you get that link, we want to make sure that you pledge to vote. So even with what we're doing, even though it is socially, it is now, it may be framed on the social side. What is the action that is coming along with that? The social attraction, but the action, that piece right there is what moves them to the real action, towards that they can have a role and play in advocacy to make democracy work.
How would you run your election process if you do not have a full executive committee? Well, definitely please follow the election manual as much as you, not as much as you can, but please follow the election manual. That's important that we follow the election manual in our election process as it relates to the Constitution and bylaws. And oftentimes we know that sometimes, all positions are not filled, but please do elect as many positions as you can. And once you hold that first election, continue to try to seek out representatives to fill those positions, and continue to use the election manual, and also Derek and I as a guiding resource to you.
Wolfgang said, so yes, Wolfgang, all elections for youth in college by executive leadership and a board of directors have voted to postpone youth and college elections to the fall. As things turn over, and as all these dies down, we'll communicate what will be the date. But right now, the date is pending to be determined. So all youth and college units have been postponed until the fall. If a unit is advertising elections, we are asking all units to stop advertising elections and to stop with the process of the election process and postpone it until until the fall semester. You got it. Any more questions? Okay. If not, I would love to know where you were coming from as we depart. So as you are leaving the chat, I hope that you all found this training well, that you enjoyed it, that you found it useful, and that you can apply it to the current situation that we are in now. As you are leaving, please let us know where you're from, what region you repping, where you from. Are you from Ohio? Are you from New York? You from California? Region 1, Region 7, Region 3. And we appreciate you all for joining us tonight. Don't forget, somebody said I rep Jesus. Don't
I'm from
forget.
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, and you know what? Unmute yourselves. That's fine too. Got
Okay.
Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, Region 4, Region 2,
California.
California.
Okay. Cali in the house.
Pomona branch at that.
Elaine, Texas.
All right, Texas.
St. Louis, Missouri.
All right.
All right.
4.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines. I guess y'all want to talk no more. That's cool. Okay. I see y'all coming in Region 2, Virginia. I have Georgia.
Cecil County, Maryland.
All right, Maryland. Hold it down for the home team.
Yes.
All right. Well, I see. All right. I see we got everybody. We got Indiana here. We got Fort Wayne, Indiana. There we go. Alabama. Yes, there are some. There are some ice cold brothers in the house. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. All right, we're gonna stop now. But I won't get in trouble. We appreciate you all for joining us tonight. We hope that all is well. We hope that you are maximizing this time with your loved ones, with your family, but most definitely that you guys are taking this charge from becoming a grassroots organization, but now becoming this digital civil rights organization that is making its way and making victory known throughout the United States by fighting for our lives and for our equity, for policy change every single day. So thank you all. Russell, do you have any closing words before we leave?
I also want to echo those same sentiments, and definitely thank you all for all the work that you're continuing to do for the adjustments. I know that adjusting can be hard sometimes, but I think that as an organization, you all are doing an amazing job at adjusting, and keeping in mind that like the work still has to continue. So I definitely appreciate that. And if there's anything that we could do to be of support, please do let us know. We're more than happy to be of as much support as we can, and be there for you. And I'm seeing a lot of requests to close in prayer. I am not the one to ask, so I would definitely pass that along to Derek or to Jonathan.
Brother Derek, so I guess you're leaving it up to me?
You know I am.
You got mighty quiet. All right. Everybody bow their heads, please. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we come to you as humbly as we know how, asking you, Lord God, humbly yet boldly, to search our hearts and our minds. If you find things that shouldn't be there, we ask you to take them out. In the name of Jesus, we ask you to forgive us for our sins. Lord God, we ask you to touch our leaders. We ask you to touch everyone on this call. We ask you to extend your love to their families, extend your healing to this nation, Lord God. We ask you to bless our leaders as we move forward in this work. We ask you for new and innovative ideas, Lord God. We ask you to continue to cover us and keep us under your blood. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Y'all be blessed.
Get you a night, a restful night, and that you all stay safe. Continue to wash your hands and stay home and practice physical distancing, not social distancing.
Amen. Amen again.
Amen. God bless
Amen.
you all.
Thank you so much. God bless all of us.
God bless.
Good night.
Good night.